So everybody already talked about the new Rolex 2023 releases from Watches and Wonders. We wanted to have a different spin on the topic. We wanted to talk about certain things that you might not know that might have not been clear in a lot of the press releases or a lot of the articles that were written, and what the discontinuations, what the new models are going to mean for the market, for pricing and changes. With me today, I have our in-house Rolex expert, I want to say.
At this point, I would assume that, yeah.
All right, Peter Piccolino, he's our guy. Go, Peter! Peter, there's some things that you brought up when me and you were just shooting the shit about, the Rolex releases that really caught my attention. Some things that were not made clear. We did a full-length, article, a full-length video about it, and it's funny because the stuff that you told me about, I wasn't, really, I wasn't aware of some of this stuff. One thing that you brought up was potential change in the blue dial of the Rolex Sky Dweller.
Yeah, so if you look at the pictures, it's a rose gold Sky Dweller with a turquoise colored dial, right? Every rendition that came out, it's not that blue sunburst that's found in Datejust or the stainless steel Sky Dwellers. It looks very, very different, right?
Okay.
Some people are calling it the turquoise dial. I think it looks very turquoise, but it could also be the same shade as the Milgauss Z Blue dial. I think that's going to be crazy, though.
I did not notice it. Like, obviously, I saw the watch. I saw images of it. I didn't see it on hand. Like, I didn't see any videos of anybody, wearing it.
No, I haven't either.
I think that would really determine what it looks like under different lights and see how that does.
I'm going to say that they changed it, though. I don't know why. I just feel like since it's new and never been done before, I think that they put a different shade in there.
I wonder if they're like, hey, we're killing off the Milgauss. Let's do something fun.
Let's do the same color there.
That could be cool.
Probably is.
Next thing I want to talk about is the Oyster Perpetual with the bubbles.
The balloons?
Is it balloons? Is
bubbles?
it bubbles? So I know that Adrian and Marco talked about it, and they just said, it looks like they just took every color of every OP that they've released.
And put it in there.
Yeah. You think that was the thought process behind it? Or
I don't. You know what's weird? Do you ever see the movie Up?
Yeah,
Like your kids, right? Yeah. It's all those balloons, right? And what does that signify? He's up and he's leaving. So maybe they discontinued all the other colored OPs.
That's a serious.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
well, it's got all the colors in it, but that makes sense. I didn't even hear them say that.
Yeah, when they said that, I was like, oh, that does make sense. Because obviously before, I just looked at the dial and I was like, oh, cool. They put in a bunch of bubbles. There's all the funny memes of the kid in the ball pit. There's the Wonder Bread. The packaging.
Logo.
It's an interesting watch. Is this a catalog watch? Can you is it on the website? Is it visible? Can you go to an AD and buy it?
Honestly, I have not seen it on the website. I probably didn't even look at it because, to me, it's not something that really, I'm like, wow, okay, I have to have that, right? Rolex used to do a bunch of cool stuff. They really did.
On that topic, you got to take a look. I don't know if you've seen we have an article on Gray Market Magazine. It's the ultimate guide to Rolex dials.
Amazing article.
Thank you.
Right? Because
I didn't write it, but thank you.
The amount of those dials that were, talked about in there, I've seen them in person. I've gotten to see them in the flesh. That it's wild. Rolex used to do very cool stuff. However, when they come out with something like this, there's just almost no thought behind it. I really can't get behind it and say wow, this is a great looking watch. No.
Do we think that this is going to be something that's going to have a very short run and will become a collectible? I can't see this watch being released year and year.
No, yeah, I'm going to say it's probably going to have a very short production run. And probably because, the Tiffany Blue OP only had, what was it, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah.
It was made, maybe even less?
Yeah,
I think it was actually less before they discontinued it, right? So I'm going to assume it's going to be discontinued very quick.
So it might be collectible. It might be something to people go out and own. Just like people ran out when the Tiffany Blue came out. Prices on them were insane.
There were dealer chats that actually banned the sale of this, right? Because when the Patek Tiffany came out, the 5711, that was when the OP 41s, 36s, they went crazy. They were going up to 30-something thousand. And all the moderators knew as soon as someone buys this, they're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did.
I'm sure a lot of people did. This might be an interesting purchase. If you can get it cheap enough where, not crazy, rates. People, we'll see what people are asking for them once they're available.
I'm going to say out of the gate, if it's a $6,000-$7,000 watch, it's going to do 20, maybe low 20s.
Wow. That's nuts.
Well, an OP41 Tiffany is, trending around that mark. So why wouldn't the newest Tiffany version?
Because this is not the, just the Tiffany. Like this is.
I know it's got the bubbles on
yeah.
it. I'm still gonna say it's like
It's kind of
20 grand
clowny.
watch.
Like that's what
It really
that's
is.
What I
It
think.
looks like a kid's watch.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it looks like something Swatch produced.
Correct.
That's exactly what it looks like to me.
The next one that they came out with, which was also kind of a jokey watch, might actually, according to some research, might turn out to actually be a joke. The Day-Date emoji. So they showed it in, I believe they showed it in white gold, yellow gold, rose gold.
Yep.
Now this is the first enamel dial that Rolex has done since 2012. So that's a big accomplishment. But there was something saying that this could potentially be an April Fool's, situation because it's not available on the website. Anything about that? Do you know?
I'm going to say this is going to be an off-catalog piece, right? Because does this really portray, does this really relate to a wide audience or a wide variety of Rolex's customers? No, because when you think about a Rolex, especially a presidential, nothing but pure class.
Correct.
Tony Soprano wore one,
Correct.
Everyone wears a presidential.
Yeah.
And it's just made for going out. It's going out for, a dinner, an office meeting. It signifies something more, right? Like you're the boss. That's pretty much what I think about. When I see this with, and don't get me wrong, the autism awareness, if that's what it's for,
Yeah, it might actually be a discrete autism awareness, like
great.
whether it's a
for it.
fundraiser, whether, they might be doing something behind the
Exactly. They could be doing
scenes,
something like that. So that could be cool, but I just can't see them actually producing these on a mass level. It's going to have to be an off-catalog piece, special order, or they'll offer it to you.
Who can you see wearing one of these?
You know what? Actually, a lot of people.
Really?
Actually,
Like
a lot
who?
of people. What's, oh my God, Drake bought his chains recently. What the hell is that guy's name? Pharrell? No, is it Pharrell?
I mean, if you have Pharrell, the rapper, the producer,
Yeah,
now the head of design at Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, like for someone like Pharrell wearing that,
Pharrell's got
Tyler
his
the
own
Creator.
RM. He's got a Richard Mille made for him.
Oh, exactly. But I'm saying like those type of people, like that are into that funny stuff.
Let's
Like
not take an influencer. Let's take like a
normal person. I can't see anyone wearing it. It looks fake. Like if I knew nothing about Rolex and you came up to me wearing that, I would tell you that. Come on, you think Rolex is really making that?
This could be more like a Jake Paul, like just kind of a jokey spin. Like I can afford it.
Exactly.
It's fun. It's going to get some attention.
Exactly. I agree with that. Definitely. You have too much money and too much time on you. That's exactly. You know what?
But
That's a great saying.
with like Rolex's,
It doesn't.
brand. Like
does
Rolex
not.
is a serious brand. They don't make jokey shit. Like these two watches are, and again, the only word I could think of about is like jokey. Like these are just clownish type watches. If it is for autism awareness, I'm all behind it. Awesome.
Absolutely.
They might be doing something behind the scenes where like, okay, for everyone that we sell, we're going to donate the proceeds to the Autism Awareness
That'd be great.
Foundation. That would be cool, but I would assume they would say something about it. We'll probably see whether this is going to be available or not. Now, what's the typical timeline from them announcing it at Watches and Wonders to them actually being available for sale?
It's a great question. I'm sure that they set forward production probably when they get back from break. I believe it's January or something. They take 2 weeks off. Then the factories start going again, producing. I mean, they know about this well beforehand. You know what I mean? So they're probably starting production, maybe making dials because they already have rose sky dollar cases. They already have the bracelets. Yeah. So realistically, all they need to do is produce different dials.
It's pretty amazing how they can control the leaks. Like we did an episode on what we were under the impression that these were legitimate leaks.
Yeah.
I don't think any of them panned out.
Nothing.
And actually, it's funny because one of the guys that posted the leak later on posted a story, a video showing him creating them. Like he showed a video of like them adding the dial colors, changing the case, making the lugs wider. Like it was pretty cool. But he got everybody.
Wow.
Because he's a trusted source on Instagram, and he screwed everybody. Yeah, it worked. It was definitely got him some attention. Next one we have is the Rolex Daytona bezel. So it is no longer.
There's a lot with the Daytonas going on, actually.
Let's talk about the Daytonas.
I just thought about something. So you ever see a white gold Daytona, how the lugs are a little bit fatter?
Yeah, I totally noticed that.
You know what I mean? Like
I
towards the bottom? All right. So on a Rolex Daytona, I wish that we had one. But at the bottoms of the lugs, they're shaped different than the stainless steel cases.
Okay.
So I actually just saw something. I don't know if it's confirmed or not. But the stainless steel case is now the same exact as a white gold or a precious metal case.
Okay.
Meaning the lugs have that bevel at the bottom. The crown guards are a little bit thicker.
Yeah.
And then also, I think on the Pandas, which I don't know why they did this. They tried to play it back to the Zenith Daytonas, where the subdials were a little bit thinner, the color.
Did you see the meme of like
The
actual
panda? Yeah,
with
with
the black eyes and no black eyes?
It's like, I don't know. I feel like there's no effort going into that design, right? Like, well, you guys could have done it. They could have done anything. But I think they're just trying to test. And I think this further proves my point why Rolex is absolutely king. You could do whatever you want, and people are still going to talk about it. They're still going to buy it.
Yes.
Because anything that they put out, I don't care how goofy it is, people are going to buy it regardless.
That's the power of branding.
It's a power brand.
It's unbelievable.
It's insane.
Yeah. So the one thing that we didn't just mention was the bezel. Tell me about it.
Oh, yeah. So the bezels on the previous 116-500s and every other reference, that had a ceramic bezel, it was actually one piece of ceramic. It was literally cut, beveled, and then engraved with the numerals. Now, from what it looks like, I'm almost 100% sure that I've confirmed this. It's an insert. So it's an actual bezel and then a ceramic insert that's going onto it.
Okay. Which makes it harder or easier to change out?
I'm going to be honest, I think that's much harder, right? Because Submariners have the same exact style, right? It has the stainless steel bezel with the ceramic insert. When you try and remove one of those, I don't want to say, the rate of failure, if you don't have the correct tools, or at least know what you're doing with the wrong tools,
you're going to break it.
You're going to say, like, it's ceramic.
Yeah.
Once it breaks, you're pretty much done.
Because that would be pretty cool if like they made it where it was easier and you could change out, and like you can get like aftermarket bezels and just like change colors. You want a pink one? You want a purple one?
That would be great.
You want a Tiffany colored one?
Exactly. You see all that stuff like that. I mean, China's been producing. They've been making fake stuff like that. I've actually seen a colored Daytona bezel not too long ago.
Question, actually, sorry, on that topic. You ever seen that pink sub with the pink?
Yeah, pink ceramic insert.
Is that aftermarket or is that a Rolex thing? Do you know?
So I think no, Rolex definitely didn't produce that.
Okay.
I can't remember if it's Bamford.
Okay, so it might just be one of the.
It's like a custom. Yeah, but the thing is, the factories out in China, they've actually been producing Coke bezels, ceramic for GMTs, right? They've been making red and blue ones, red and green ones, this, that.
No, but like not all the brands, I'm sorry, but some of the brands went to like the easy release bands, like things that make it more convenient for the wearer to change out the customized, like, hey, I just want to pop my band off, put it on a different color one.
Absolutely.
Rolex has done none of this stuff. Not only have they made it, harder, they're not trying to appease the customer in any way of customization of like, hey, this watch right now is blue and black. Yep. If I was to wear an all red outfit today, be like, oh, I'd love to change it out to like an all red, You know
what they run into the problem of if they allow that? The versatility of their production line, right? Because if you release every color insert under the sun this year, what do they do next year? What if they wanted to come out with a Coke next year, but there's already a red insert one?
That makes sense.
The way that they have it set up, exactly. They could run the GMT for another 20,000 plus years.
It reminds me of like back in the 90s, you would go buy like a new hard drive for your computer, and like every week they released, this one now has 100 megabytes. This one has 150 megabytes.
That's exactly what it is.
So they're like juicing it slowly, although they probably at the time they probably had gigs already. But like, we're going to sell them one step at a time so people keep fucking buying them and upgrading.
All the way up until the end. That's exactly what it is. I can't see it any other way.
Genius fucking business.
Genius, absolutely.
Let's talk about some discontinuations and how the market is reacting. I think this could be very valuable for our viewers and listeners.
Absolutely.
If you are watching this, please make sure to subscribe, comment, like the video, show us some support so we keep putting these out. This is still a test. I'm putting these out as regularly as possibly can, but I want to see that people are actually enjoying this. So if you like this, show us. If you're listening to this, make sure to write a review for the podcast or email us or just go on YouTube and subscribe to show us some support. Back to this. Is that a good message?
That's great.
I did
it was great, Avi.
It's a tough day. It's already like winding down and I'm kind of slow today. John Mayer, Daytona, yellow gold, green dial. This was one of mine and many people's favorite watch. Obviously, we talked about the fact that John Mayer's made this thing, pop off. Prices went crazy through the roof. The minute that they discontinued it, I was under the impression that
It was going to do numbers.
this is the watch to fucking own right now. What happened?
I mean, it's the same as it was. I think we actually talked about this on another podcast when, like, a week ago?
Possibly.
We were talking about John Mayer Daytonas and, like, how they're good and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, in the market right now, as soon as they were discontinued, I remember waking up at 5 o'clock, and the Hong Kong guys were just pounding. All the Hong Kong dealers, they were pounding out John Mayers. 150K, 140K, 130K. And once I saw that, I was like, here we go. Here we go. And I had a brand new one for 90K for actually one of my clients. And he was playing around. He was like, I don't really want to spend this much. I don't want to spend this much. As soon as I heard that, I shot him a text. I said, hey, sorry, they're 150K now, right? However, that's not the case. You could ask $1 million for a John Mayer. Is it going to sell? Absolutely not. Right now in the market, I'm seeing them like 110, 115.
So they shot up and then bounced back down.
They shot up, and then when people didn't catch on, people got realistic, and they were like, this doesn't seem good. Let me just dump now. Because at the end of the day, there were people holding them from like last year that were into them way over, and they were like, I'm not getting rid of it at a loss. So they probably made, they got out of it, or they made out okay.
I feel like before Watches and Wonders, everybody buys, especially that one and the Platona, because they're assuming this is the year that they're going to be discontinued. And this is the year it actually got discontinued.
I know.
I'm assuming most of the people that took the fucking hit are dealers.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many consumers were like, I got to buy one right now, 150, done.
Absolutely. The Platinum Daytona actually is doing very well. I want to say that the Diamond Dial is even pre-owned right now. I'm seeing them like 120,
That's
120K.
Good. That's good because they came back
were
down,
cheap.
yeah.
They were cheap, considerably cheap.
Yeah.
Just a few weeks ago, realistically, hundreds.
It's funny because like now with the new one coming out, now we have the new Platona coming out with the clear case back.
That's another thing, actually. We didn't even get into that. So the new Platona has the first, and we actually talked about this on the last.
We did talk about the fact that they didn't have it.
They never made anything with it, so they finally wised up. They made a exhibition style case back, and I think it makes perfect sense. The 4130 is a great looking movement, but they've actually changed so much on that 4130 movement. Right.
Just so that it's presented well.
Correct. Yeah. So there's some like Geneva striping on the bridges instead of the old the older finishes that they were using. I'm going to assume it's only being done to the Platonas. But
how cool would it be if you open up something with a closed case back and they use the same exact finishing?
It would be. I would buy myself an open exhibition style case back and just put it on, because I would showcase it.
It'd be interesting to see. Once we actually get one of the new ones, let's say we get a new Daytona, open it up to see if they did the same finishing. That would be like an Easter egg, like in there, like.
You know what? I don't think that it's out of the question, right? Because everything,
it doesn't make sense, but maybe.
It doesn't make sense. But then at the end of the day, why produce two different style bridges that are made for the same movement to do the same exact thing, right?
That's true.
And they're making them new references. Usually whenever they change a reference, they give it a new movement. The 126 that got the 3235, or I'm sorry, the 3285 movement, the GMT. The older one had the 3185, or you know what I mean? Like they change the movements as they go along.
Next topic, the Meteorite dials. Since they're all discontinued, it's not just Daytonas, it's also GMTs, the whole line. Everything. No more Meteorite. First of all, I wonder if it's because of the difficulty of acquiring that.
Absolutely.
But is it just getting so limited and so expensive? Or?
I would say, it's definitely difficult to get, but I'm sure there's also a very high failure rate, right? So here's one of the other things why Milgauss could have been discontinued. The green crystals, those are actually grown in-house by Rolex.
Grown? Are they?
Grown in-house.
Like they're live?
It's like they produce the actual crystal that's then cut into the lens.
Wow.
But they have a massive failure rate. I want to say it's like 6 out of every 10 actually are presentable enough.
Wow.
So when you factor in all the time and energy that goes into making green crystals, they probably lost money for all we know.
That's surprising then. Why isn't that watch worth more?
You would think not a lot of people actually know about this, which is weird. It's like one of those Easter egg type facts. But going back to the Meteorite, I'm sure that there's a failure rate with that as well. Yeah. It's
producing
a thin
it
layer.
Probably is
exactly.
Tough. Yeah.
Absolutely. So factor in, let's just say maybe 5 out of every 10 actually make it to a watch.
But then, would Grand Seiko stop? If it was that difficult? I mean, Grand Seiko has some Meteorite dials.
that are actually meteorite?
I don't know. I assume.
I don't know
when
if
they when they call
I know
them
nothing about
meteorite, I
grams.
assume they are.
I know about like their snowflake dials, the cherry blossom, like some of the cooler stuff that they do. I didn't know that they even made a meteorite dial.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's Grand
They
Seiko.
probably do. They probably do. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's also different gradings of meteorite.
Okay, there you go.
You know what I mean? So like when you cut open, it's like cutting open like a cool rock. Well, that's exactly what it is at the end of the day.
That is cool rock.
You know? At the end of the day, it is.
It sounds like cutting open a cool rock.
So when you cut open like one of those rocks, you ever see like a video and it opens up, it's like marbleized, or it's got crystals, and you know, like you look at this one's just like it's got like a little bit. There's like no color in it, but then you pop this one open and it's bright blue, red, green, whatever. So which one are you gonna buy? I'd rather make stuff out of the rainbow one than I would this one. So there's definitely gradings to like the patterns on the meteorite. I just think it's so hard to obtain, maybe up to their standards, and probably produce it, because I've never produced a meteorite dial, but there's got to be some factors that.
How are the prices of these watches affected? Are they now more in demand because they're no longer going to be available, which ultimately means they are collectibles?
They absolutely are 110% collectible, but the problem is they really haven't. When they first dropped, like a full yellow gold meteorite Daytona, I want to say that those and the rose ones were doing like 200,000 plus, right? Now you could still pick them up like 140, 150.
I mean, I still love that watch. I think it's
great
amazing,
looking watch. Great looking watch. However, a few weeks ago, you know, they were trading pretty low.
And
they went up.
Where are they? They did go up.
Yeah, I'm gonna say like 140 for
How
a
about
full
the GMT
150.
Master? Have you seen any
the
like
Pepsis?
Have you seen any movement? And like, oh, okay, now since it's discontinued, we're going to charge more than like the 45, 50, whatever.
You know, once again, that's another watch that not too long ago, it was roughly around that 80, 90K mark. It was approaching the $100,000 price tag. And then they dropped down to 50s, 60s. I'm going to say they're probably in the mid 60s to 70 for a new one. They definitely they have to have gone up.
I would assume, again, every time something is discontinued, it makes them more rare, more in demand, I would assume.
Absolutely.
But it's not as wild as certain, like, I guess maybe it was last year or the year before, when something gets discontinued, prices like go crazy.
Prices went
something
nuts.
gets released, prices go crazy. You know, like even just take the Tiffany OP for example. I mean, even when it was just released, prices went crazy. When Patek dropped theirs, prices went even crazier. So they also discontinued the white gold Daytona with the blue dial.
Yes.
Have you seen any movement on it, pricing wise? What are we looking at today? Any idea?
Mid 60s, 70. That's shooting really high for
That's
a new
actually
one.
good, because there you're getting, you know, a white gold watch, like a full white gold.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
With a nice vibrant blue dial. It's great contrast, great look of a watch. But once again, they never really went crazy. They were like 80s, 90s.
I meant to ask you something. I just remembered. The Daytona bezel insert, is that throughout every Daytona, even the
Every
Oyster
single
Flex?
Daytona. Yeah, everything.
Okay, so
Even
they're
precious
all
metal,
changing.
steel,
I got you.
platinum. Everything's going to be in that insert.
And then they also discontinued the Everrose Daytona with the brown dial.
The chocolates, yeah. So the 116515s on Oyster Flex, and then the full
So
bracelet
both,
as well.
yeah, okay.
They did all
I just
renditions.
recently, a couple of weeks ago, I was wearing the Oyster Flex one. I loved it. I'm typically not a fan of brown dials, but I love that watch. So now that it's discontinued, it's probably more than it was when I was wearing it.
Yeah, so just the other day they were I think we had one on our website for like 43 grand, and that was a 2021 pre-owned, but it had partial stickers. Now they're like 47 grand, 48 grand.
Very reasonable.
It is still reasonable, but you're only talking about 10 grand, relatively close to 10 grand over sticker.
It's not bad. And last one that they discontinued was the Milgauss. It just so happened that Monday, I wake up, I take a look at my emails. We had one listed on our website for $11,950, and 3 people tried to buy that one at the same exact time. The system didn't catch it quick enough because it happened so quick that it sold it 3 times, and we had to tell people, hey, we're sorry. We didn't have any chance to not that we would, but in theory we could have raised the price, because I saw prices that morning. Prices were going up to $13,500, $14,000 for them.
Correct.
What are we looking at these days? And this is again a couple days after the releases.
To be honest with you, they're still around the same. Let's say
13,500?
15,000.
15?
Let's say 15,000 for brand new.
That's not bad because again, we were selling
It's not bad
a pre-owned
at all.
one, but 11.9, so 12,000 we were selling that
Listen,
one.
you're going to see them 15, 16,000, even 17,000 on chrono. However, at the end of the day, they're not. As crazy as it is, that first day, people were buying them left and right. I was watching it happen. I haven't gotten another call like put out in the chats saying, "Hey, I need a Z blue Milgauss right now." I haven't seen it.
I feel like that's a legitimate collector's piece.
I agree with you 100%.
Did they produce tons of them? Like, are there like tons of them in the market where? Because I mean, I was told that they produced the John Mayer for so long that there were so many that the prices are not really that affected.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing with the Milgauss?
Yeah, I'm going to say yeah.
Okay.
I think the pre-owned one that we had was 2014, 2015.
I have no idea.
Something like that. So factor that in. It's been made for 8 years, if not 7, 6. There's plenty.
Now, what are your thoughts about, and they've done this before where they discontinue to watch, and then the following year, they re-release it with something else. Like, let's say they'll bring it out in a 41 millimeter.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And it'll go wild.
God. I mean, I could see them doing that to the Milgauss.
Yeah.
Changing it, maybe a different color crystal, right? Like, maybe they'll go back to clear glass or whatever. Or maybe they'll make something new, like a blue crystal green dial.
That'd be cool.
That would, I mean, that'd be a horrible composition. Like, you know what I mean? Like looking into it, but I don't know. I could see them.
The 70th year is like 3 years from now, so maybe they're gonna.
Is it really? Oh,
That's actually a great point.
These guys are so far ahead of their time. So just an example.
Wow.
Years ago on the Luxury Bazaar website, we used to call our pre-owned watch section certified pre-owned. Everything, the text all over the website was certified pre-owned. And we got a cease and desist from Rolex saying you have to remove the word certified. And we're like, the fuck do you mean we have to remove? Like, everybody uses certified. We certify that this is pre-owned. They're like, no, it's not certified by Rolex. You cannot use the word certified. So we actually went through our entire website. We had to scrub anything that said certified pre-owned, and we just changed it to pre-owned.
Pre-owned.
So now everything says pre-owned. Although we do have an internal certification system that we use. That's what we referred to. We didn't refer to Rolex's certified system. But they did this years in advance because they knew they were coming out with a certified pre-owned program.
You know what's
that
crazy?
They just released.
Wow, yeah.
It's insane. I just caught that. I'm like, holy shit. 3 years ago, they asked us to remove it. Last week, they came out with that. I was like, wow. I was like, these guys are so far ahead of their game.
That's actually great. Yeah, who would have thought? I guess it makes it, they probably had it in play. They had it in motion.
Yeah. I'm sure they're working on things that we'll see a couple of years from now. That we're
for
like,
sure.
wow. That's pretty cool. What are you wearing? What's on your wrist? I like that.
This Patek? To be honest with you, I don't even know the... No, I think it could be a 5800. I have no idea, to be honest with you. I genuinely don't. All I know is it's a yellow gold full pave set.
What are you doing in this business, bro? You don't even know anything.
I don't know the reference for this because I think with the diamonds, it has like a different abbreviation at the end.
I think it's a $120,000 watch.
It's a $120,000 watch at the end of the day.
It's beautiful. I like it.
It's great. It's a nice looking watch.
What's the size on that like?
I think it's, I want to say it's a 35. I think that they claim it's a 35. However, the Nautilus case with the way that the lugs are and then this top mid part of the case, it feels like it's a 37.
Because typically I don't like the 37s or 38s because they're smaller. Like,
Yeah.
Not really
Absolutely.
a fan.
I got a small wrist. I ain't the biggest.
That's true.
You know what I mean?
Like, you stay fit. All right. Well, Peter, thank you very much for joining me and helping clear out some of these unknown facts and what's going on in the market with Rolex releases and discontinuations. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are listening to this, if you're watching this, make sure to take an action. There's a little button that says subscribe. Just click it.